Hi, Hannah here with Dave Spencer, Sales and Marketing Manager, Farmers Pride.
Yeah.
He thinks he can retire, so we're going to do a little interview about his time here at Farmers Pride.
Sure. What do you want to know?
I don't know, 11 years. Lots has happened.
11 and a half, actually, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Is that what you wanted to be when you were a kid?
No, not at all. Don't think so. I wanted to, I had my own paper route as a young boy in Lincoln, and either thought about having my own business or going to Wall Street in New York in finance. Had no connection to farming whatsoever, so didn't go down that path, or not ended up there.
Yeah, ended up here.
Yeah.
So how did you start your journey here into the co-op?
You know, so I ended up switching majors through college, learned about agriculture, I liked business. I wasn't really hip on maybe going to New York after a while. Let's stay in Nebraska. I like the Midwest. And I thought, what's the biggest business in the Midwest? The answer is agriculture and ag business. So I'm like, hey, let's see if we can study that. And I got to meet some people involved with that, and just really liked maybe the smaller town angle of things. And so studied ag business in college, and actually got a job as a chemical rep in Southwest Iowa with Shell Chemical. Only people like Brian Hoffman and Dean Turnus will remember Shell in the chemical business, but they were in the 80s. They were a very good company, had a great product. So I got to do that in Red Oak, Iowa, and only got to do that for a year. So I called on cooperatives, independent owners, farmers, and helped sell the product, support the product. But then they sold the division off, and I was asked to stay with Shell Oil, and we moved. And that took us to, of all places, an hour out of New York City.
Right where you wanted to end up.
So I never thought I'd get there, but the next thing you know, at the age of 23, I'm moving to New Jersey and learning to talk funny and drive fast. And the whole career changed right there on a dime. But it was a great opportunity, and that's where I cut my teeth in the energy side of the business. Yeah.
How'd you end up at Farmers Pride?
So interestingly enough, lived out on the East Coast, 3 years in Connecticut, 1 year, or 3 years in New Jersey, 1 in Connecticut, and then really wanted to get back to the Midwest. And so I thought, well, probably I've missed a little bit on the agronomy side, being away for 4 or 5 years. Can I get back into something else in the energy side? Well, cooperatives have got all kinds of energy business right here at Farmers Pride, like we do. And so I got on with Farmland Industries based out of Kansas City, and I lived in central South Dakota and called on cooperatives at that point. And from 1990 to 93, I didn't have any part in Nebraska, but in November of 93, I started to inherit some co-ops in Nebraska, starting out in O'Neill, Battle Creek, and South Sioux City. And so I called on Bob Buckendahl. That would be a relative of Lyndon Klugs here at Farmers Pride. And Bob was a petroleum manager here at Farmers Pride, and I was able to develop a relationship with the company, and got along great with the people here, and just continued to evolve my career in the cooperative side of things. Farmland and Cenex got together and brought a company called together Country Energy, which became all Cenex at one time. So I called on this account off and on from 1993 up until 11 and a half years ago. Knew a lot of the people here. I'd known Dean Turnus from a prior job I had at Farmland as a training and consulting business, and he was at Plymouth, Nebraska. And when Dean got here, I was like, I'm thinking maybe making a career change. And I had a supervisor once tell me, he says, you really want to learn the business? He said, you need to get on the other side of the desk and be on the retail front. And he was totally right on that. I've learned a lot while being here at Farmers Pride, but took an opportunity to maybe get off the road. I mean, I drive a lot now, but I'm not driving to Minot, North Dakota. I'm not driving to Baudette, Minnesota. Go look those places up on the map. Brent Anderson would know where those places are at because he's done the same job as I worked with Brent in the past at Cenex. But decided to get off the road and looked at some cooperatives, and I was really impressed on what was going on at Farmers Pride and the financial performance and the expansion and the improvements they were making. I said, this is a company that's on the up and up and going forward. And I thought that'd be a good spot for me. So worked it out with Dean that I could get on board and kind of hit up the marketing side, which needed some help. And the company was growing, and promote the company and work on the sales side as well. So it was really an easy decision. I like the culture at Farmers Pride. I like the people. I like the brand. I like the geography for where I lived. So I just thought it was a great opportunity, and it's been a great experience.
Good.
Yeah.
What have been some highlights of your career?
Here at Farmers Pride,
Both here and all along.
I'd say a highlight was moving to the East Coast. I was scared to death to go. I encourage people to not be afraid to move. I didn't know if we'd ever make it there, but we did, and had some success and learned a lot and got to see a lot. So I got to see things that I probably just dreamed. I'd never think of myself driving around. I've been on top of the World Trade Center, which is no longer with us. It's kind of interesting to see that. So then that was a big accomplishment to survive that job and come back. But really enjoyed. Highlights of my career is really developing a lot of relationships with people. I know a lot of cooperative people over the years. Some others have retired and moved on. But here at Farmers Pride, we kind of jumped right in the fire with the purchase of Advanced Energy Fuels, which basically doubled the volume of Farmers Pride and about quadrupled the geography. And the challenge of putting all that together and bringing the team together and making things work, and that's really brought our energy department really way up there as far as volume and importance to the company. And the other thing would be just getting through some of the tough times with the people, the key people that deliver the products. I can think of the first summer here, the summer of 2012, with the terrible drought we had. We just not stopped irrigating and people working and trying to help them and support them. And we took meals out to people and their families because, delivery drivers weren't going home. And we've had some of that the last couple summers too. And getting through last winter was a tough deal. We had a lot of challenges thrown at us. So, but the highlights are just, I think overall, is just seeing the Farmers Pride brand grow. People think of us. I had a goal when I got here that when people think of agriculture, like in the city of Norfolk, I wanted them to think of Farmers Pride. And I think we got us there. That when people have got questions for radio stories or they want to find out what's going on with the crop trend or markets, that they'll call Farmers Pride because we got an answer for them, or we can give them some good information. And so I think that's a really key highlight to keep Farmers Pride. As one board director said, as he was headed to our annual meeting this year, he said, geez, every time I turn around, there's a Farmers Pride truck on the road. And when you throw our transportation division together with the grain and the fertilizer and the energy products and everything else we do out there, I'm just proud to see Farmers Pride continue to grow and be a successful company. Yeah.
What are some of the biggest changes that you've noticed at Farmers Pride in the last 11 and a half years?
Well, it's definitely the age and face of the people, okay? So, 11 and a half years ago, I wasn't necessarily the young guy, but I wasn't the old guy. But particularly our agronomy staff. The agronomy staff had a lot of seasoned veterans, really, really good people, very knowledgeable. Really liked Farmers Pride's approach in agronomy to sell you what you need, Hannah, not what we want to sell you, because there's a difference there. We could sell you whatever we think we're going to make money on, but you might not need it. I don't think that's right. That's right. We want to do what's best for you and your field, our fields, and every field's different in this part of the world, that's for sure. So the face of our agronomy department has really changed. If you look at our staff today, it's really gotten to the youth side of things, and it was going to have to happen. And I've talked about a talent gap that happened in the 80s where people did not get into agriculture. And so I've encouraged to tell the young people in our company or outside our company, you want to move your career along, you want more responsibilities, you want challenges, pick agriculture, because there's going to be an opportunity for you. So the face of the company's changed, and you'll see that with there'll be other people doing what I'm doing, either retiring or doing something maybe different later in their career. But that's really changed, and obviously the technology in agriculture is a lot. It's changed a lot too, but everything's bigger, faster. Farmers Pride didn't have a lot of 4,500 gallon delivery trucks 11 and a half years ago, but that's about all we have now in most of the territory. So that's just trying to do more in a shorter period of time, be more efficient. And at the end of the day, I want people to go home and enjoy their families and not have to work all the time. But sometimes the seasonality of the job changes that. But yeah, those would be the things I think I've seen the most here.
With that, what would be some good advice you have for younger co-op employees and high school, college kids?
Yeah, I think don't be afraid to try something different. don't be afraid to try a different job. Don't be afraid to try to move. Saw that in my career when I was with Farmland and Cenex. I did different jobs over the period, and was rewarded for that. You know, willing to step out and do something. Probably that move I said in New York was the best thing we ever did. I was scared to death doing it, but I look back on it, and I still could drive you around New Jersey today through all that traffic and everything else. But don't be afraid to try something different, and you give it your best. And if it doesn't work, that's fine. You know, find out maybe that wasn't my best job that I could do. I'm better fitted for over here to do that, and to stay with the co-op system, because I believe in the co-op system. If it wasn't for the cooperative system, and I like history, you go read why companies like Farmers Pride was founded and formed, why the regional cooperatives were founded and formed. It was for the benefit of the farmer. You know, the farmers, you know, the Wall Street and big corporate chains, they're worried about one thing: their return on investment to their stockholders. Our stockholders are our owners. We need to get them the best products, the best timing, the best advice, and that all comes from people. People are going to offer that, and so you got the opportunity to learn more, keep learning, and take all that you learned and use it with the customer, and just go for it. Yeah.
Good. What are you going to miss the most about co-op life?
Oh, I'll miss the people. I'll miss the challenges. You know, the challenges of just trying to get stuff done, and the feeling you have a sense of accomplishment. I like having goals in place, and for me, it was always get to that fiscal year and how the year looked. But at the same time, I'll miss working with the people at the locations, sharing stories, but helping them get better, and just promoting Farmers Pride. But I'll always promote Farmers Pride, even what I'm doing next. So, I just think it'll be change. People say, well, you missed the driving around. I guess, Hannah, I did some math, and I averaged about 48,000 miles a year for 38 years. And if you do that, you go around, well, the Earth's 25,000 miles around. So I've gone around the Earth twice a year for 38 years. So that'd be, 76 times around the world?
Seen a couple.
But you know what I'll miss? And you know this, because I'll miss some really cool sunrises in the mornings and some sunsets in the evenings, year round, and I won't see that as often. So I will miss that part. It's really cool this time of year to see the green fields. Right now, I'm worried about that back in June.
No kidding.
And some winter scenes, but I don't really like whiteouts driving home either, or anywhere. But we've all had to deal with that too. Yeah, give and take. So those things I'll kind of miss.
The little things.
Yeah.
All right. What is next for Dave Spencer?
Yeah, I think most people know, but I like teaching here at work. I've never been afraid to get up in front of the group and teach why we do what we do, and to help us get better with the customer and explain to the customer why we do what we do. And because you hear all these stories, and we talk about headlines and myth stories out there, and I always say, come to the co-op. We'll get to the right story. I like to use the term providing clarity to the chaos, because there's a lot of chaotic messages out there. So I've always thought the idea of maybe using the 38 years of knowledge and teach other people. And I've got the opportunity where I live in Yankton at Mount Marty University to be on their staff as a business instructor. I dipped my toe in the water a little bit last year with what they call an adjunct position in the fall, and taught intro to business. And then they had a class kind of come together and needed somebody to teach advertising in the spring. And so kind of took that one, and I liked it. Liked developing a relationship with the young people. A lot of the athletes at Mount Marty, of the smaller private schools, a lot of people there are involved in athletics. And I like athletes, I like sports. So yeah, I'm going to be teaching 4 classes starting about August 28th.
Exciting stuff.
Welcome to have anybody come be a guest speaker.
There you go.
Come and be a guest lecturer. Marketing economics, business communications, and entrepreneurship. So that'll be on the schedule this year. So I'll have my hands full at that. But looking forward to doing it.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
Any other little comments you got?
No, it's been a great run here at Farmers Pride. If this opportunity hadn't come up, I'd still be here. But the opportunity and timing's right. I encourage young people, you asked earlier about the co-op retirement plan, is really a powerful deal. That was part of the reason I looked at Farmers Pride, because just the non-variable part of that plan, it's a set plan that I wanted to get 10 years on it at least. And I told Dean when I got here, at age 60 or 62, I'd probably do something different back then. And I didn't know if that would be true or not, but it did. I'm on the lower end of those two numbers right now. But that co-op retirement plan is really good. And so it's worth sticking around for, and having that, you get a lot more years than I got on it. But you talk to the fellows like Dean and Brian, have been on it for a long time, Barb Johnson, they'll have a lot of benefits of that.
Well, good.
Yeah.
We'll sure miss you around here,
Oh,
but don't
yeah.
be a stranger.
You already got my cell number, so
Good.
yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.